Welcome to MarlaMiller.com's Critique My Query. This is our 35th query critique. There's some changes at MarlaMiller.com that I will notify you of through the newsletter. We will continue with the free quick query critiques, but I'm also going to offer something that is one level deeper, and it will not be free, but it will be very affordable. And we're going to do it through Skype. So I'll tell you a bit more about that within the week. But I came to this decision because many of the people who I critique have follow-ups, and I can't spend time offering free advice. We all have to make a living. So I came up with this, and I think it's going to work. I think it will work for me, and I think that it will work for writers out there. So stay tuned. Meanwhile, let's get to this query letter. This lady has been waiting for not too long. Okay. Dear Blank, searching for the publication of Free Roamers, Mourning Grove, a young adult novel in anthropomorphic field. Upon the Great Plains, during a time that only our ancient ancestors could know, there lives a species that thrives in the seas of herds, bison, or free roamers, as they call themselves. The Ice Age has ended, and with the birth of today's modern bison, prairie, a calf is nestled in the heart of the plains in a valley known as the Sun Bowl. It is there where she grows up, but under the array of unnerving circumstances. The mysterious vanishings of several male calves, including her close friend Thicken, she leaves the safety of her homeland and travels out into the vastness of the Great Plains. Soon finds herself traveling the distant lands to fulfill a promise and possibly a strange lure. Unbeknownst to her, Thicken and her father, Blackmore, the leader of the famous bachelor group, are working to settle things with the strangers who steal young bulls. A storm of unusual events is churning that could defy their species' future. That has always intertwined prairie with the rather eccentric family tree. Free Roamers, Mourning Grove, is an anthropomorphic novel for young adults. It is fantasy intertwined with realism to give the ultimate illusion that you are actually watching realistic bison and animals. The time of the story lingers at the brink between two eras, around 5,000 years prior to today, during an era at the end of the Palestine epoch, where the Ice Age fauna have all but died away, and today's modern animals have basically entered into the world at the threshold of the Holocene epoch. The book is approximately 290 words, although I would consider cutting it in half or thirds upon request. Now, about me. Ever since I can remember, I loved writing. I started from writing books by drawing pictures and scribbling misspelled words on pieces of paper, and eventually moved on to typing stories on the computer. At 11, I wrote my first full-length book, and at age 13, I wrote another, much larger novel. A few others have come to life at the tips of my fingertips since then, including Mourning Grove, a novel I wrote when I was 18. If your curiosity should strike, I've included an attached synopsis as well as the first chapter and possible prologue. Thank you for your time and consideration. Okay. What do I think of this? Well, I think that this is a draft. And if you heard me tripping through it as I was reading it, it was because I was tripping through it as I was reading it. First of all, there's some pretty big words there, and I'm not an anthropologist, but I kind of remember the Philistine era and etc. So it's an anthropomorphic novel, okay, which means that animals take on human-like characteristics, a la Animal Farm, and that's cool. But I don't get it, frankly. I can't track it. We're 5,000 years ago. I don't get it. This query letter, I would suspect, is as how do I want to say this? This query letter is as rambling probably as the novel, frankly. If this novel is almost 300,000 words and she says that she can cut it by a half or a third, not a good sign. So this is an example to me of a query letter that is probably as that has a lack of focus, and I would suspect much like the novel does. So I think that this writer has a lot of work to do. Do I like the idea? I suppose I could. These novels are good for this age group, so I think that it probably has possibilities, but I can't track it. I really can't. We're in today. We're 5,000 years ago. We've I'm not going to say too much more than that about it, because I can't really say anything that's constructive, because I can't really follow it. I do like the idea of using bison to tell a story, for sure. And young adults, as I said, read them, but I just can't wrap my mind around it. I don't know, maybe it's just me and maybe it's just today. But I read it several times and I haven't been able to wrap my mind around it, so I'm really sorry for that. But I would invite this writer to absolutely submit again. But one thing that I will tell you, do not ever, ever, ever include in a query letter that you are willing to cut your novel by half or a third. Now, let's talk about that for a little bit. The reason why you wouldn't do that is because what does that say to the person reading it? What did it say to you when she said that? When you heard that, what did you think? You thought that this novel is too long, right? And that she already knows this. So you can't expect an agent. I mean, what she's essentially asking an agent, now let's put on our business caps, okay? What she's essentially asking an agent to do is ask her for the novel so that she can read this almost 300,000 word novel. And then, after reading it, ask her to cut it by a half or a third. Now, that's just asking too much. That's what your writing groups are for. So I would encourage this writer to get into a writing group if she isn't, and really listen to the commentary that her critiquers offer, because I would bet you that the narrative through line here is wiggly and hard to track. That's what I would bet. Okay, beyond that, as I said, I invite this author to resubmit, and I'm not going to say any more than that at this point. Be well, and until we meet again, keep writing.